Serious, straight people of Reddit, when did you know you weren't gay? Honestly, though I had been reading classic romance novels for a couple years, nothing solidified me being straight more than someone in high school starting the rumor I was gay and it taking over the entire school for 4 years. So much so I had gym teachers pull me aside to ask if I needed to dress alone so I wouldn't lust after the other girls. It was then I discovered that not only was I not gay, but even the idea of sexually touching a girl is a complete turn-off for me. I'm not a touchy person to begin with, but the mere thought of even having a with another woman involved is like a cold bucket of ice water to my libido. I was raised in a being gay as a choice type of house. My mom was giving me a speech about how she didn't care if I brought home a black girl, a Chinese girl, whatever, just as long I dated a girl. Basically an anti-gay talk. I was confused about this, and thought to myself, why would I date a guy? I'm attracted to girls. Dating a guy sounds nasty. If I had to date a guy, who would I date? Best friend? Ew. No. Preppy guy? Ew. No. What's his name that is out as gay? Ew. No. There's no guy the first can even think of that I'd want to be romantically involved with. And even if there was, I'd really have to force myself to do so. Holy. Being gay isn't a choice. Edit. Typos. I was 11 and I fell in love with Joe Jonas. For a while I kind of wondered if I was bisexual, because I can appreciate when a woman looks good. And for a while I was kind of drawn to pictures of naked women. Then I realized that the thought of hooking up with a woman really wasn't a turn-on to me. But the thought of hooking up with a guy, well, elicits a little different response in my body. Turns out I was drawn to images of naked women out of curiosity and for comparing my body to theirs. I'm a female and I know that so far it is emotionally impossible for me to fall in love with a girl. I could have with a girl but definitely would not be interested in pursuing dating a girl because there isn't that sparked desire I have with men. I've questioned my sexuality before just to be sure, lol. But I know that the romantic bond I have with men is not possible for me to have with women. I could girl but definitely would not be down to date or even flirt with a girl. It would feel very forced and uncomfortable for me. This was actually a really legitimate question for me. I guess I'm fairly far along the A spectrum because I didn't ever experience having so much as a crush on anyone until I was 19. That person was a guy. But a sample size of one wasn't really enough to tell me if I was straight or bi or anything. At that point a friend asked me about my sexuality and I had to sit down and think about it. I came to the conclusion that although I had many great female friends, my feelings of love towards them were definitely platonic love and I couldn't imagine any of them spilling over into romantic. I can appreciate a graceful figure on a girl, as a seamstress you sometimes notice. But I don't have any desire to be with a woman. I just don't get aroused by looking at men. But I do get aroused by looking at women. Oddly relevant given the recent FF7 remake. But my answer is Tifa Lockhart. FF7 came out when I was 13. When I was super young and playing Sonic games on Sega Genesis, I used to think Tails was female and I would have dreams about living inside her. Obviously I had no idea what this meant. Nor did I realize Tails was a dude. After that I remember dreaming about WWF female superstars a lot. Eventually you end up seeing another guys. Whether it's by accident, etc. And I realized that the only in the world I thought looked good was mine. There's a show that broadcasts here called Naked Attraction. It's a little bit like that old blind date show, however the contestant gradually sees more of the bachelorette's naked bodies. And it pretty much solidified that there's not a single in this world I think looks as good as mine. God, I hope this post doesn't come up in a background check. When I first learned about the concept of being gay, I think I was like 8 to 9. I randomly asked my mom, "How do you know if you're gay?" And she said, "You would just have a feeling and you'd know." I thought about if I've ever felt gay and I didn't. So that was that. My dad owned a body shop when I was little. Typical 90s shop, dirty posters of women all over the place. There was one in particular that even to this day I can remember 25 years later. The taste I have for women now and what I had in high school remains the same. That poster I seen when I was 7 let me know that I liked women. When my rate of I think insert girl is pretty attractive got to a certain frequency in high school, I thought about it critically. It was pretty easy once I realized that the thought of touching another woman sexually legit makes me uncomfortable, and not in an avoiding, repressing way, which I also considered. I still get some looks from peers when I make those comments. Always have. I'm positive 1 or 2 female classmates have thought I was lying about my straightness to make them comfortable or something, which, first of all, get, and second of all, don't flatter yourself. But it's not my fault they're uncomfortable with my bluntness. It's just how I've always been. I'm currently crazy over the female baton twirler for my college's marching band, and I refuse to be ashamed of that. She did a routine freshman year in a Santa's helper outfit and her baton was on fire. I'm still a little in love. I watched Space Jam in like 2nd grade and thought Lola Bunny was hot or something. Then I started to compare her to girls and was basically checking girls out. I read that, and that's pretty weird, but whatevs. Katy Perry did it, so I kissed a girl and felt nothing. Might as well have been giving a handshake. My girls and I would still kiss each other. Mostly for free drinks or getting cover waved by the bouncer. But I had no desire to go forward with it. When I was 8, I saw Pam Anderson in Baywatch. I've watched gay. Couldn't keep it up. I've looked at guys in real life and thought about them sexually. And there was less of a response than, might like lil shaved twinks, but as us, I seem pretty straight. I'm not against the idea. Stimulation is stimulation. But I just don't have the biological desire. Or else I'd probably be bi AF. When I got a chance to try stuff with an attractive girl, but I only felt a urge to kiss, cuddle, not do the draw me like one of your French girls scene in Titanic. I was 7. I suppose I could be classified as either straight or bisexual, as I do find women's bodies to be very attractive. But from a very young age, I always developed strong feelings for boys, men. I never had a crush on a girl in the same way, even when I admired them or thought they were sexy. I never imagined or wanted my future long-term partner to be female. So I guess it's like I knew I wasn't a lesbian when I had crushes on little boys as a little girl. But even when sexual attraction toward women started creeping up, it was not the same as the intense passion I felt for the men I really wanted to be with. I've always been so attracted to girls and think they're beautiful and TBH can be hotter than guys many times. But I shudder at the thought of being with one myself. I could never connect with a female on that level. I watched gay, and I can safely say it wasn't for me. Meh. I've come to realize sexuality labels are stupid. I mean, sure, I remember being taken to beaches on the Costa del Sol as a kid and perving over topless women. With women, I've only ever really been attracted to women. Then bam, you find out Henry Cavill exists and it throws the whole thing into disrepute. When I was super young, I used to take, and sometimes hide, my mom's Victoria's Secret catalogs. I remember an intense feeling while looking at the models in lingerie. It wasn't a feeling, being so young. But it was exciting, fun, and it had a magnetic feeling inside me to look at them. Since I didn't even know what is, I figured that feeling was what marriage was. LMFAO, so I'd be flipping pages and I'd be like, I would marry her. Wow, I really want to marry her. And marry her. I wouldn't marry this one. I love these type of questions that bring back things you never think about. Looking back at this foggy memory, I can actually remember the specific perfumey smell the magazines had. When a girl strokes my back or plays with my hair, it's very relaxing. I'm like a cat. I am so happy and comfortable and I'll go to sleep. If a guy strokes me or plays with my hair, I'm tense but in a good way and really excited and flustered, and I want to touch him all over. I thought I was bi for a while. But before Corona I was studying abroad in Spain, and this French girl who was openly bi and super pretty was very obviously into me, and when we would go to clubs she was all over me and I realized I wasn't into it. It was fun for what it was. Dancing and drinking. But I could tell she wanted to take it further and I did not. I got sad as a middle schooler, getting harshly rejected by a crush, and realized all my guy friends are amazing people to me. So I figured, could I imagine dating them? Couldn't get it up in the slightest. So I quit. I am pretty sure I'm not gay, but Neil Patrick Harris hasn't asked me out, so that's an exception. When I started checking out girls in high school, but it would only go as far as thinking they're pretty. No desire to date one. I went to an all-girls school. But I was always thinking about boys. I'm not opposed to trying things with girls if the opportunity came up, but I've only ever been sexually attracted to guys or wanting a relationship with one. Well, you know, boobies.